pandemic, record job loss, social injustice. These are indeed uncertain and unprecedented times. How can we continue to stay resilient during adversity? Author Vernice "FlyGirl" Armour is America's first African-American female combat pilot, and she joins us with 5 tips to stay on the right course. Hello, Vernice.
Hey, Alana. You know, I have my mask because I'm a Marine, a cop. You always got to be prepared, right?
Yeah, and you are prepared, and you have 5 tips to help us, to help people who are feeling stuck and down. And your first one, I love it because it's an analogy with what you do. It's just create your own flight plan.
Absolutely. So, super quick. I was sitting on my deck. It was the beginning of March. COVID was just starting to hit. Like, okay, this is probably going to impact me speaking at large conferences for maybe a couple months. Within days, as far as the eye can see, everything is canceled, right? We're in a global shutdown. And I said, okay, back to step 1. What do I want? Where am I? Where do I want to be? What is my new flight plan going to look like? And that's huge. It's like I use it for everything, right? Followed by step 2, the pre-flight, mitigate the risk. Step 3, take off. Got to launch. Can't procrastinate forever. And step 4, execute, navigating the minefields and obstacles. And then step 5, which is my favorite step, it has 3 phases: review, recharge, reattack.
That's right, Vernice.
Do you know why my last part is my favorite, the reattack part?
Tell me.
Because it has the word attack in it.
Speaking of attack, before we get into specifics, I want to hear about how you were able to attack your career and become the first African-American fighter pilot. Tell me, how did you get to that place?
You know, honestly, I didn't go out to be the first black female combat pilot. When I was on the Nashville Police Department, I became the first woman of color to ride motorcycles. When I was on the Tempe Police Department, I became the first black woman on the police department, the Marine Corps' first black female pilot, and then America's first black female combat pilot after Iraq. Honestly, I was just going out to have an amazing, epic, juicy life. And I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. But I had to make the decision on what do I want, then figure out the path on how to get there. I think people get hung up on, do I know it? Do I know how? Then I'll go for it. If I don't know how, then I'm just going to choose something safe. Well, if you want an epic life, can't choose that route all the time.
No, you can't. And I mean, I really admire your courage to go after what you want with so much enthusiasm. And, you know, part of these steps are reviewing and taking a step back and creating your flight plan, if you will. What would you tell somebody who was not feeling as courageous as you are on a daily basis?
All right. I am so glad you asked that, Alana. In order to be successful, I totally believe you got to get gutsy, right? In your gut, you know it's right. It takes guts to do it. But you got to take action. And let's say you don't feel as gutsy. You have to think about the risk of not what if I don't, but oh my God, if I do, this could be amazing. If we really understood what we're saying no to, and that's why corporate America brings me in so much, because we have these huge visions, goals. We're working with thousands of people, and sometimes it feels like the goals are just insurmountable or we can't overcome. Create the flight plan, flex and adapt, because life happens. Hello, COVID, Black Lives Matter, right?
Right.
And go for what we really want.
And you suggest when you're doing your pre-flight check is to make a list of pros and cons. How do you do this in an honest way?
Yeah, say that last part again, how to what?
How do you do that in an honest way?
Gotcha. All right. The reason we don't do things many times is because we're fearful. And I say, how do we transform our fear to fuel, right? Instead of exploding like a grenade, bring it back in and focus like a finely tuned laser burning through steel. So on one side, what are the pros? Why should I do this? What's it going to benefit me? How's it going to benefit my family? How is it going to be fulfilling in my life? On the other side, what are the fears? I don't know if I have enough money. I don't know if I have enough time. I got to take care of the kids. I don't know if I have the certifications. And when you really write everything that you're afraid of and you look at everything that you could stand to benefit, most of the time, I will guarantee you will readily see it's worth overcoming the obstacle to achieve the fulfillment, the meaning, the adventure, the love, the passion in your life that you really, really want.
Vernice, you have achieved so much, but I've got to ask, you must have had some setbacks. How do you keep a positive mental outlook when you are faced with these setbacks?
You know, I'll be honest. I'm facing a setback right now, like in my heart. As a former cop and soldier and National Guardsman, when I saw George Floyd take his last breath, I said, what do I do, right? As an openly gay Black woman on this other side, what do I do? And I knew I had to, number one, again, think about, what do I really want? I keep on bringing it back to the why, because that's what brings us through, Alana, right?
Right.
So it's about engaging in my community, standing up with my voice. I was like, well, I've never talked about politics on my social media, but this Black Lives Matter isn't about politics. It's about humanity. A mask isn't about politics. It's about our humanity and how we're watching out for each other. So I believe when Dr. King said, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. How can we find out what we truly stand for in all areas of our life? Our relationships, our love, our spirituality, our kids, our purpose on the planet. And for a lot of us, it takes guts to go for it.
Well, those are words of wisdom from Vernice Armour. I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
From on location. Hello.
Yep. I love it. Thanks a bunch.
Absolutely. Stay gutsy.